Some of the most popular animated characters of the last 60 years actually debuted in a Christmas song. This is the story behind the Christmas hit, the Chipmunk song, Christmas Don't Be Late by Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Behind the Christmas hits with Drew Savage.
Alvin and the Chipmunks have been pop culture fixtures for decades. They've starred in 3 different long-running animated TV shows, and their 4 theatrical movies from 2007 to 2015 grossed a combined $1.3 billion worldwide. But their very first appearance wasn't in film or television. It was in a Christmas song. Ross Bagdasarian was the youngest of 3 children, born January 17, 1919, in Fresno, California. After serving in World War II, he moved to Los Angeles to try acting and songwriting. Bagdasarian's family was Armenian, and when he turned in some music he had written for Liberty Records, the executives there told him what, unfortunately, they told many people at the time. His name was a little long and hard for people to pronounce. So he did what many artists have done. He changed his name. In 1956, Ross Bagdasarian became David Seville. The last name Seville came from the city of Seville, Spain, a city Ross loved when he was stationed there during the war. There are conflicting reports about how he chose the first name, David. Some stories suggest that it was a tribute to his firstborn son, who sadly died as a child. However, there are other stories that claim that Ross and his wife Armin never had a son named David. Whatever the inspiration was, David Seville was set out to make a name for himself. He was cast in small roles in films like Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window and Billy Wilder's Stalag 17. He would also get some work as a composer, writing and performing the theme for a 1956 movie starring William Holden and Deborah Kerr called The Proud and the Profane. As a songwriter, he also wrote hits for Rosemary Clooney and Dean Martin. You've heard the expression, "there are no bad ideas." Well, Seville had a pretty silly idea. He had just purchased a $200 tape recorder. Now, that was no small investment at the time. $200 in 1958 translates to more than $2,100 in 2025. He could get both an iPad and an iPhone. As Seville was doing some recording, he thought, what if you played around with the tape speeds to create different voices? He wrote a song called The Witch Doctor, where Seville sang the main part straight, and then the role of the witch doctor, ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, was sung slowly and recorded at half speed, only to be played back at normal speed to give that high-pitched sound effect. Seville played around with different techniques for over 2 months before going into the studio to actually record the song. When it was finished, he took it to those same executives at Liberty Records who thought it was so fun and unique, they rushed it into production 24 hours later. The Witch Doctor by David Seville went all the way to #1 in both the U.S. and Canada in April 1958, the first ever #1 hit for Liberty Records. The song's success literally saved the company from bankruptcy. Seville quickly recorded another novelty song called The Bird on My Head, using the same recording technique for the voices, but the song didn't click and stalled out at number 34 on the charts. Which begs the question, how do you repeat the success of The Witch Doctor? You can't just speed up the voices in any song. How do you catch lightning in the bottle again? Well, you create characters to sing the song, characters with high-pitched voices. People from the beginning thought the voices in those earlier songs reminded them of chipmunks, so that's exactly what Seville created. 3 chipmunks, each named after an executive at Liberty Records: Al Bennett, Simon Waranker, and Ted Keep. Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. Each one had a very defined personality. Simon was smart and responsible, Theodore was sweet and innocent, and Alvin was Alvin. The song begins with David asking the Chipmunks if they're ready to sing. Simon and Theodore both check in, but Alvin is distracted, and David screams his name in frustration. A Star is Born. It was recorded on Halloween Day in 1958 and was in stores by November 11th. The Chipmunk song debuted on the Billboard chart at the beginning of December and knocked Phil Spector and the Teddy Bears to Know Him Is to Love Him out of the #1 spot on December 29th. A spot the Chipmunks would hold on to well into January, on its way to becoming one of the 20 best-selling singles in all of 1959. The Chipmunk song is one of only a handful of Christmas hits to top the Billboard chart in the same year it was released. And it wasn't just a commercial success. The Chipmunks cleaned up at the Grammys that year, winning 3: Best Comedy Performance, Best Children's Recording, and Best Engineered Recording. It even got nominated for Record of the Year. I'll be completely honest with you. I grew up in the 80s, and before I started researching this episode, I always just assumed that Alvin and the Chipmunks were already on TV when this song was recorded. In fact, it was the other way around. The success of the Chipmunk song made it a no-brainer to turn these characters into cartoons. The Alvin Show debuted on CBS in prime time on October 4th, 1961. 104 different shorts were produced and packaged into 26 half-hour episodes. The show only ran for a year, but it lived on in reruns until 1979. A second series, Alvin and the Chipmunks, premiered in 1983, running until 1990. Once the theatrical movies were done, a third TV series premiered in 2015, running until 2023. Sadly, Ross Bagdasarian, David Seville, didn't live to see much of this success. He died of a heart attack in 1972, just 11 days shy of his 53rd birthday. His wife Armin and their 3 children, Carol, Adam, and Ross Jr., inherited the Chipmunks. Ross Jr. worshipped his father and said that he felt the need to continue his work. So after finishing law school in the 70s, he and his wife Janice would shepherd the characters into their 80s TV success and beyond. In the mid-90s, he bought out his siblings and became the sole owner of Alvin and the Chipmunks. In a world where big corporations own and control the most famous comic and cartoon characters on Earth, at the time of this recording in 2025, Alvin and the Chipmunks is still very much a family business. I'm Drew Savage. Thank you so much for listening. You can find me on Instagram at Drew Savage on air. If you enjoyed this story, please leave us a rating and review. It helps other Christmas music lovers find the podcast. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a story behind the Christmas hits.